Alright, hello everyone. How are you all doing today? I myself am doing rather well, and I wanted to tackle a heavier subject today, and I'm not too sure if I'll use the article I have on screen or not, because it's just more teenagers getting mad at their adults for not understanding them or what have you, but going full cult mode and trying to break off with them, and as such, the idea I most wanted to tackle with this video is the idea that Black Lives Matter has created more racists in the past week than the systematic idea of racism has within the last 6 years. 2014 is, I believe, is when they started, and whether it be imaginary or what have you, I believe their side carries more racists than the opposition, because their side believes that they have to get on their knees and beg and grovel to these people just because they think that somehow by them living their lives is holding down these people and not letting them have the personal responsibility it takes to look in the mirror and say, I'm done being a victim. I'm going to be a winner today. I'm going to go out and get my own. It's an idea that these people can't fathom being a correct idea anymore. This idea of being a champion, to be number one. It used to be a strong idea, or at least it is within the athletes, but not so much within the regular class. And I just don't get it. Why doesn't anybody want to be a winner? Why are you so willing to just lay down and take whatever scraps are given to you by people that are so called keeping you down? Absolutely insanity. And now we have more and more kids trying to break away from their families because they believe that an opposite idea should not be heard, should not be not fathomed, should not be entertained. It can't be discussed in any way. My truth is the only truth that there is within the world, and no matter your experience, so that doesn't matter. It's only my way of thinking that is correct. Even though you can meet an Asian man, a Hispanic man, or a white man who has had their ass kicked day in and day out by black people, and I know there's people out there in the world who are like that. They grew up in poor neighborhoods and were subject to being different and getting attacked by these people. And it's just crazy how willing they are to break up the family. Nobody really knows how to live for someone else anymore, and that's an idea that so many people who don't raise children, who absolutely despise children, don't understand. The idea of giving yourself to someone else. And I'm not talking about simping or white knighting or anything of that nature. That's just absurd. You do have to have the self respect to get something back from when you give so much to someone else. So, no, I suppose we can get into the article. Some Black Lives Matter protesters say they've reached a breaking point with close minded family members who believe only what they've seen on Facebook. Although I'm only spouting ideas that I've heard from a professor or a Twitter post, and I'm so open minded for repeating those very things. And I will never question it. I will never give a response to it. I will simply believe, because this is an authority figure, and whatever this authority figure tells me is the absolute truth. And that is how these people think of the world and the and of opposition, that if it doesn't come from their professor, it doesn't really count as an idea, and it's absolutely absurd. Object every once in a while, say something against it, against your own thoughts, let different ideas come on in. On Friday, May 29th, Alia Jones, a 24-year-old nursing student from Kingsburg, California, of course it's California, shared an event on Facebook. The event, titled "We Can't Breathe," announced a protest that the following afternoon outside Fresno City Hall, just 30 minutes northwest of her town. Jones, who planned to go as a bystander with her local NAACP chapter, shared the event to invite friends to join. One side effect of that, her aunt saw it. And instead of taking this chance to reflect on her own ideology, of course, she just gets into an argument with her aunt. "No, all lives matter," Jones' aunt replied. "Not just black lives." Jones, whose father is black and mother is white, grew up with refrains like this from her maternal relatives. "They've always made racist comments," she said. They would say things like, "You're not even that black. You're not black. You need to act like you have some sense." I used to just laugh it off. I was young. I didn't understand. Not to mind that this might have just been them making a little fun of her, and that she was supposed to get a sense of humor out of this. No, she takes it to the extreme nowadays. In the past 2 weeks, as protesters organized daily marches against police brutality, Jones' patience began to run out. The murders of George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery intensified her fear for her boyfriend, who is black, and their 1-year-old son. She tried to explain that to her aunt. The aunt blocked her, and after other commenters began to pile on, the aunt messaged Jones to quash the conversation. In one of the messages captured in screenshots, the aunt wrote, "I'm racial about stupid. There's a difference between black people, and clearly all the ones that are rioting are black people. Don't stoop to that level." Not long later, Jones stopped responding. They haven't spoken since. And you know what's weird? This is a joke that Chris Rock? Yeah, Chris Rock used to say in his joke that he loved black people but hated N-words. And now that these things have gone so far that you can't even joke about it anymore, people take it as examples of their racism. But it can't be that these people are good people and these people are bad people, and it doesn't matter that they have the same skin color. The day after the protest in Fresno, Jones found a comment thread on Twitter started by a user whose display name is Alexandra. She tweeted a text from a cousin announcing he planned to unfriend her on Facebook, scolding her for defending these animals, and trashing her mother. "The blacks are the ones ruining the community," he wrote, "not Trump," which is true. Again, Trump has done more for the black community than any of the 3 presidents prior have done, and people are refusing to see that because he absolutely has to be a racist in their minds, because if they're wrong, that means that they've been wasting their time, and that's not about to happen in their heads. They can't have wasted this time. "If you ever speak another ill word about my mother," she said, "there will be problems, you stupid fuck." Jones replied with her own screenshots, adding, "You are not alone." How those relate to one another, it's crazy. By Saturday, Alexandra's tweet had been retweeted almost, because that's what they care about, tweets and likes, and created a kind of forum for posters to share stories of family schisms over the protests. One user, a 21-year-old from Salt Lake City who asked to remain anonymous, shared an exchange with his dad. "I see you on TV, down there with all the losers breaking windows, throwing bricks and water bottles at police officers," the father wrote. "This isn't protesting, this is anarchy. Certainly my enemy." They had an ongoing conflict about Black Lives Matter, the son said, but the message marked a breaking point. "Cool," he wrote back. "Want you out of my life now." And absolutely breaking down on the family. No clue what they're doing. They're just lashing out because it's the cool thing to do. Honestly, they think they're fighting the system when they have the system's full support behind him. And it's absurd. They don't realize what they're doing and who is encouraging them. Down with the system, they shout as CNN puts them on a pedestal. Spencer Wyatt, a 24-year-old Chattanooga, Tennessee, tweeted a message from his mom telling him she was unfriending him until you get your head out of your ass. She called his support for Black Lives Matter groupthink. Until about 4 years ago, Wyatt might have agreed with her. He was, in his own words, very much an asinine child. A guy who thought Colin Kaepernick's protest against police violence was disrespectful. But, of course, the doublethink and the ideology have already infected his mind, so of course he can't think that way anymore. In the past year or so, Wyatt began to see differently, and in January began to write about it online. When he read about George Floyd's murder, which everybody agreed upon was bad, this time there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Everybody agreed it was bad. They just thought the riots were stupid. He began to share photos from protests, articles, and donation links. There are lots of people back home who I grew up with, who I love, who I would think would want to be on the side of moral standing, not on the side of the oppressor, but of the oppressed. Wyatt said, "But I started to get messages from relatives getting into arguments. Some of my family members blocked me." His mom's message stung the most. "Both of her parents are immigrants from Mexico," he said. "It just blows my mind that she's not seeing it. She's not understanding it. In the Hispanic community, there's a lot of racism towards Black Americans, and a lot of racism from Black Americans towards Hispanics as well. There's a video circulating online of this Hispanic guy just trying to get into an elevator, and this Black guy won't stop punching him in the face, and he's not defending himself or anything. He's just trying to get as far away from this guy as possible, but this Black man will not stop. My grandmother is pretty racist. She doesn't like Black people at all, but I don't think my mother is racist. I just don't think she gets it. She doesn't understand why it's different. There's a difference between racist and anti-Black. A lot of this police brutality is racist, but it's really anti-Black." And the article just goes on and on with stories of kids under 25 years old who don't understand that people can have different ideas without being racist. And they just keep complaining, thinking that absolutely their own thoughts have to be right. And they can't fathom a world where they're wrong and where their parents are right. Because again, they have to lash out in some way, shape, or form to make this work in their head. And it's getting insane. So, going back to the original point, Black Lives Matter has created more racists on both sides, imaginary and real. It's created people like me who are against the current state of the Black community, who doesn't want to take ownership of their own selves and their own lives, and it's created racists on the black BLM side because it's people who think that these black people can't do anything on their own, that they need assistance, that they need the white people to donate hundreds or thousands of dollars to letting them be lazy. And a lot of it is just laziness. How many people do you know just live off of welfare and never improve their lives? They're just okay getting money for doing nothing. Alright. That about does it for me today. I'm about to lose my voice. I can already feel it going. I'd like to thank you all for watching. If you enjoy my content, go ahead and leave a like, maybe even subscribe. Otherwise, leave a comment down below, and I'll catch you guys next time. Take care.